So today's topic is the F1 sprint race format and how it's ruining race weekends for fans and drivers. The Formula 1 sprint race was first introduced by Liberty Media with the FIA's consent in 2021 and was originally called sprint qualifying, then changed to sprint race. The proposed format for this kind of qualifying is the same used now, where a driver starts the race on Sunday in the same grid position as the one he finished in on Saturday. Only the first 8 drivers to cross the finish line get points, going from 8 for first, 7 for second, 6 for third and so on. Of course, to understand where to start the sprint races, the drivers need to do qualifying on Friday after 1 or 2 free practice sessions. This new kind of race only lasts for 30 minutes, the reason why a pit stop isn't mandatory, meaning it's more likely targeted towards newer and younger F1 fans who don't want to sit through a 1 hour and a half race on Sunday to get to watch some on-track action, because they can get boring pretty quickly in most cases. Not only that, but the fact that qualifying is on Friday means that more people are probably going to watch F1 on that day, leading to more exposure to ads and thus making the sport more profitable for its owners. The proposed number of sprints throughout the year was 6. In Emilia-Romagna, Austria, Sao Paulo, Bahrain, Canada and the Netherlands. But only the first 3 locations were actually used in 2021 and 2022. The reason teams refused to make more short races is because they were introduced at the same time as the infamous budget cap, meaning that they knew that they weren't going to be able to stay within the spending limit. Yet some teams managed to overspend even with just 3 sprints, Red Bull and Aston. These new races were then excluded from the budget cap cost entirely so that teams could take part in them even if they were over budget. So, where's the problem with sprint races? Isn't more action on track better? Well, just partly. The fundamental problem is that where a driver finishes the race on Saturday, he starts on Sunday. This means that if a driver crashes out on the sprint, he will start the real race last. And that's why drivers tend to hold back during sprints. This means that the drivers themselves are defeating the purpose of these sprint races. They should be like the last laps of this year's Silverstone Grand Prix, full of overtakes and action. But instead, sprints are mostly boring and not many fans look forward to watching them. But how could the Formula 1 management team fix this format? First of all, removing the rules that make sprints just a qualifying race. Drivers should start on the grid where they finish in qualifying. Maybe there could be the introduction of a second qualifying session, one for the sprint and one for the race. Maybe they could use the same qualifying session, but use an inverted grid in the sprint, only giving out points to the top 3, or maybe even just to the winner of the sprints. That way, we are guaranteed to get a show both on Saturday and on Sunday. Another thing that they could do to improve the racing is completely remove the points gained or lost in the sprints. But that too could make for a new problem, which is why the drivers are not really fighting because there's nothing to get out of a victory. And even better, they could make these races mandatory for every race week, so that us fans get twice the racing, twice the action, and F1 gets to show ads during the race twice. It would honestly be a win-win situation to make sprints more frequent and their racing overall better. We're already seeing that the Formula 1 is trying to integrate more sprints into the calendar, starting from next year with 6 sprint races. So perhaps we're already moving towards this future where sprints are a common thing on Saturday that everyone is looking forward to watching. So what do you think? Should F1 change the rules for sprint races entirely, or are they fine as they are now? What rule would you change for the sprint race? Let us know with a comment below, and don't forget to subscribe, because at 10,000 subscribers, we're going to compete in a sprint race to see how fun they can really be. No, not really, but you should subscribe anyways.